Greetings. Facebook is a miraculous gift of communication. We all know this. A lot of us go for it. Other people are cautious. They realize, this is my private information. What are my friends doing with my information, etc. But it's amazing that it allows us to do this great stuff, and it's the two-way. One-on-one we can be with the world. However, and this is difficult because there's so much conversation and information going on out there, we can easily or with great difficulty forget what America is actually originally about. The Irish said, no taxation without actual representation. So that's not virtual representation. The virtues of Facebook are amazing. You're famous. You could go way over your 15 minutes and they might still accept you if you're behaving. If we're all behaving good. And that behavior can be shaped, informed, and situated and channeled so that it's really fun, and we understand why we're giving information or why we're giving support to organizations who we can trust, and keeping a lookout, if we see someone misbehaving or something like that, to be able to report it and to look for examples of how to communicate. I mean, I flunked English in California. That's where I grew up. Facebook was blessed with an East Coast, puritanical Boston, Massachusetts. I'm not sure about the whole thing. I don't keep complete tabs on people. I know it can make people nervous, unless if they really want people to understand themselves. And this is, it's a little, explaining what you love, what makes you happy, what makes you sad. This is great, especially if it's short and sweet or memorable, so we can understand and go, okay, I think I understand exactly what he's saying, even if it were on the other foot, or if it were my people. Indeed, that's certainly important. So to remember taxation without actual representation, this is where I think that Facebook and communications technology in general can get it frightfully wrong. We can be in a panic. We can think, well, there's monsters out there. That's why we went there, to sort of, explain that, demonsterize the monster. It's complicated, but it's also scientifically quantified. So that's when you have a complication, you say, let's quantify this. Let's get it right. Let's get the information so functional that it is idiot friendly, and not just a place to dump information or whatever other sort of maybe misguided information. Again, I'm rambling here. Desperately trying to compose perfection of understanding, friends. Okay. Trying to get the information and understand and learn. But let me just put it into a nutshell. Facebook, good old Zuckerberg, he said, I would have done it in Boston if I had to do it over again, or maybe in Russia or Iran, someplace where the media is virtually forbidden, because there can be crazy people out there. My arm is holding this thing. Hold on. And my crane arm is possessed on the left coast, incidentally. And it's my laundry. It's kind of like washing time. keep my tone from being dirty. Absolutely. The love is so much better when you're in clean clothes. You know, I don't care who put them on. It's like, please bless me. You know, foolishness. The child, the innocent child who grows up on the left coast, wants to represent sanity, if at all possible. With or without this crazy giant flower in my ear. It's just, I gotta sniff it. Oh! It is nice. It smells like butter on cookies, you know, or something deserved after you've my back too. So this is the reality. Okay, I'm making it short and sweet, but also waiting until we get there so that, you know, we're playing the game properly, not just all of a sudden blitz and the waves are sneaking up on me again. Like you think it sounds like a bicycle or something, like shit, I'm like gonna jump into the bushes or something. So this is the reality, and there's so much information going on there that we're tempted to say, oh well, if it's a local, it's probably also a feral animal. You know, they will be feral animals even in a planned community, let alone on Dawn's Highway. The spokesman is holding the camera because he can't get an assistant. Between the needs, you know, and some toast. Okay, so Jack Nicholson's joke. Hold the camera for the needs, and be nice to the chicken. Okay. Excuse me. So this is the reality. The American Revolution happened largely because the people like George Washington wanted actual representation, and with education, you become that de facto reality. If people are allowed to, are enabling, arranging for you to have a really classy education. Okay, the really beautiful example, gorgeous and proud and responsible example is, you know, our future king, Prince William, going to school, and his roommate happens to be fantastic, you know, and strong, and with a smile, and that's a wonderful thing to have those kinds of arrangements. And yet, you know, into the wild. Well, there's someone coming. I'm gonna have to pause here. Okay, so into the wild. I can only imagine. You know, there's this movie where the guy he's clearly having some serious schizophrenic sort of experience, and he goes off into the wilderness, and he doesn't find the path, the bridge, the secure bridge. Maybe a beautiful little goat with blonde hair. I don't know. It's not. I don't know if that's a Goldilocks or something insane like that. Okay, but that's also about managing the wilderness, because if you've got it figured out, if you got the goats, Sally Ann, poke, you know, and the birds are singing a little song and spitting the seeds out, and I should be sitting down. I'm standing, so I'm losing my focus. Thinking about the stress in my legs because I can't find a nice chair. I really need one. A swivel chair. It's like, who is that? Who is that? So, in a nutshell, or out of the nutshell, roasted, salted, good posture, okay, because you don't want to eat too many nuts. I do, you don't though. Suggestive sort of help, okay, and nobody wants to be, you know, Okay, I'm now sitting Humpty Dumpty, lotus on the wall here. And the waves are definitely sneaking up on me. And just them little waves sneaking up on me. Okay, so let's just get down to the brass tacks. Taxation or fascination without representation. This is what Facebook is missing, this absolute George Washington statistic. Okay, so someone who grew up in Silicon Valley or very close to that, and maybe their strong mother and maybe their godmother were there, okay, with a lot of charm, family approval, family, okay, because if we're not family, what are we talking about here? You know, what's the holy cost of us communicating without someone who's got a strong mother who's there, really cares, and their father and their little sister and their it's actually the sprinklers are doing there, okay, and their big brother surviving, okay, little sister hopefully having good stuff. I don't care if they get an education or not, because women traditionally didn't, and they traditionally would not marry someone who's crazy. Ben Franklin, Boston, incidentally. So this is the keystone of communications, which Facebook, to be healthy, requires. Otherwise, the bridge is just a jumble of good intentions. You know, everything except for the keystone, which could be used to divide or to support the whole thing, to be that element of integrity, without becoming without becoming, you know, just a face on the wall, but someone who's actually there, understanding the pressures and the responsibilities to keep that bridge standing and to keep it secure, Billy. Okay, and knowing that we can all behave badly if we're struggling, and you understand that there are better places where you don't struggle, you don't become a wedge instead of a keystone. So Facebook, all they need to have absolute integrity is a local like George Washington, who grew up in a diverse community, who's got a little sister and a big brother, and that's it. It's George Washington, paternal uncle. They're all local, but George Washington is unique, him and his little sister, in that they grew up in the time of GPS. Before that, it was not knowable. So GPS and Facebook are the same magic. All you need is the keystone of connectivity to hold the thing up. Bridges can last nearly forever. Okay, and that's an amazing thing, to be communicating on a bridge that is both defendable, so that we're not allowing effluent to take the high road. You know, we want to keep that harbor lovingly clean and responsible. Okay, that's the reality. So Facebook needs to have someone who is actually local, someone who actually grew up where they have chosen to pursue this stuff. Now, we see this with Charlie Chaplin. He starts making movies, and the war, the Great War, which attacks reality with fake fun, destroys civilization, okay? And we need this element of, that's what Facebook needs, is the George Washington.